Hello everyone. I wanted to make a video, and again, these videos are going to be quite common. Expect them like one, two, maybe three times a week. We'll also be like covering stuff like this in the live lesson, and obviously all of that's going to be recorded. You'll be able to find all of that information, and I'll try to make sure that's more organized as well. But regardless, I wanted to go over why making 10,000 bucks a month is actually not that hard. I know that sounds like a completely egotistical and shitty thing to say, and excuse my French, excuse my language. I do swear a little bit. Just kind of keep that in mind. I'm not. Again, I make a lot of money. I run a business, but that doesn't mean I don't kind of just. I don't still have the personality of a kid. So with that being said, let me go over like what I mean by this and try to give like an explanation on why, in my opinion, making 10K a month is not that hard. Making 50K a month, on the other hand, a little bit harder. But and I'll explain the reasoning because I've been explaining this quite often, and it kind of just puts things into perspective. Because like, let's think of it from specifically in SMMA. Like in other businesses, it's different, right? If you're making a business and you're selling hamburgers, and the hamburger is $3, and it costs you $2 to make a hamburger, and you get $1 profit every burger sold, you have to sell 10,000 burgers a month to make $10,000 a month, right? It's simple math. So 10,000 burgers a month means 10,000 customers, 10,000 interactions, all taking 5 minutes. You can do the math. It's impossible. It's very, very challenging to hit that number with selling hamburgers. Hence why, like, restaurants, for example, they're one of the worst businesses to start. Not because it's a bad business in general. It's just because it's a very hard business to make a lot of profit from. So, with that being said, let's go into why SMMA specifically, though, is not that hard to make money in, and let's like make a little like line here. So, SMMA, realistically, as an agency or as an SMMA, what are we doing in specific? Well, we're making ads, right? We're making ads for businesses to lower their customer acquisition cost. So, what does that mean specifically? That just means that if a business is running ads on, most businesses do it on Google. Like, this is my biggest switch over is businesses that do it on Google. They have like junk mail. That's a commonality. What else is there? Like, some of them try to do like Facebook ads, like picture ads, not actual reels. So it just, realistically, these advertisement platforms, they're outdated. They don't do as well as they used to because everyone is on it. Everyone's running ads on Google. Everyone's sending junk mail. Dude, I bought this house, and I shit you not, I get probably 50 letters of just advertisements in general from businesses. What? Every single week? So it just doesn't. At the end of the day, the point that I'm trying to make here is it is not a working industry. It's not a working advertisement model because everyone's doing it. And when everyone's doing it and everyone's doing it the same and there's no variety in it, it's not going to hone in consistent results because there's nothing unique. If everyone collectively agrees that this hat right here is worth $1 million, then this hat's worth $1 million. But if the same concept goes with the latter, if everyone agrees that this hat is worth nothing, this hat becomes worthless. If everyone agrees that this hat is the root of all evil, everyone doesn't like this hat anymore. Like, it's all just about what everyone thinks. So when everyone's doing something, and when everyone's trying to make something work, when everyone's trying to make an advertisement like this, it's not going to perform well because that's all anyone sees. Everyone already knows about how the systems work. So that's why SMMA is a pretty much, it's like the new age. It's one of the golden age businesses because what you're doing is you're starting an agency off of a new advertisement and a new way of marketing, which is the real like disruptor in the industry. So essentially, as a SMMA business owner, what you are doing is you are getting into the industry of advertisement. You're getting into the industry of social media, the largest growing industry on the planet. Like, let's go look up the top companies. If we look at the top companies on the NASDAQ, probably 50 to 70% are in the social media sector. They're in the tech sector. This is a tech company. This is what you're creating. So that's the first concept. Don't think of it like you're making a dropshipping store on Shopify. Don't think of it like you're making some weird, like, grimy business model. You're literally just a tech founder. You're starting up a tech company. That's all you're doing. And you're just basing your tech off of social media, which is a high growing and an extremely high volume industry. So what's my point? Well, most SMMAs, they used to do this. They would run ads on Google, junk mail, or Facebook because that's all that worked. That's all there was. But now the industry has changed. Why? This lovely 3-letter acronym, and I say it a lot, short form content. It's the new meta, and I'm going to write it down because I don't want to try to draw that out. Short form content. Why is short form content so freaking good? Because short form content is TikTok, it's Instagram Reels, it's YouTube Shorts. Now, let's figure this out here. Let's just look at it from like a 50,000 foot point of view, right? So how long has TikTok realistically been out? Well, it got super popular in 2020. That's when TikTok became popular. It's 2025 right now, so hence 5 years. But that is not where it starts, because that's where TikTok was founded. TikTok ads were originally starting to become optimized and utilized, like where it was actually worth it to run TikTok ads in 2021, 2022. And I could either shoot myself in the foot in this recording and I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna be screwed, or I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna prove myself right. But if I go look up TikTok growth chart users by year, oh, did I win? Yep, I did win. Okay, so right here, we go see 2018. Barely anyone uses TikTok. Goes up, starts going up, starts going up. 2020, you see this growth spurt right here, and now there are billions upon billions of users as it continues to get a crazy. These are downloads per year. See how they were only in 2017 getting 22 million downloads a year only, but still, it's not much in comparison. But now, 2019. 2020, 315 million downloads. And all of the charts say the same thing. And all this is saying is TikTok grew like a motherfucker. There are a lot of people using TikTok. But why do people like TikTok? It's not because TikTok's some beautiful app that everyone knows and loves. It is literally because Reels. What is everyone on when it comes to Instagram? What is everyone on when it comes to TikTok? It's this shit. This is all it is. TikTok is literally just Reels or short form content. That was the conceptual launch of TikTok. They were essentially taking YouTube's ideology of, hey, we have videos here for you to watch and we're going to recommend you the right videos. But instead, they go and they turn those 20-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute videos into 1-minute videos. And hence, allowing someone to consume content at a faster rate without having to put in as much effort. It just makes it more efficient. It's a dopamine hit. So short form content, it clearly is working. It's clearly growing. You probably scroll on TikTok. You probably scroll on Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels as well. And the reason why I mention short form content is because this is what you're running ads on. This is what we're specializing in. This is what we're taking advantage of. So when we're running ads for a business, we're not trying to go run their ads on Google or Facebook. We're not going to post a picture. I'm not going to post a picture of this hat and be like, this hat's great. No, I'm going to make a video about it. I'm going to make a script around it, and I'm going to make a fun short form video about the hat. And that's what's going to sell because everyone's watching short form content. And if you know how to make good short form content and you also are able to build that into an advertisement, your marketability, your scalability increases tenfold because now you're marketing to billions of users rather than marketing to only 40, 50, and 60-year-olds scrolling on Facebook, liking pictures. Even those 40, 50, 60-year-olds, they're scrolling on TikTok. They're on Reels. They're consuming short-form content. I know this as, I shit you not. Every year I go to like the CEO Summit thing. And essentially what we do is we meet a bunch of business owners who are either like corporate executive CEOs and they meet like young entrepreneurs. And I do like a speaking session there. And I'm talking to these corporate CEOs, one of them being the CEO of Lowe's. And the funny thing about it, he knows nothing about TikTok, nothing about Instagram Reels. This guy owns $1 billion company, multi-billion. He owns it. He is a billionaire. And this guy knows barely anything about the industry. He's like, yeah, I just kind of like watch him. I like the funny little videos. He likes cat videos. Like, but he's watching reels. The billionaire is unintentionally, unironically consuming short form content, not as a business owner, but as a consumer. That's to show what this market allows you to reach. Hence why I'm my age making the money that I'm making. This is all I figured out. And I just put it into basic math. If you know how to add, subtract, and kind of divide, then you're fine. And if you don't, use ChatGPT. It's easy. So with that being said, I shit you not, billionaires, everyone's using short form content. You probably use it yourself. But no one is taking advantage of true advertisement and short form content. People are still using the old way. The old way is, we're going to make an ad and we're going to say, we want to sell you something. We're ready to sell. Buy our product. We're so great. But people aren't idiots anymore. We're not as dumb as we used to be. We're still pretty dumb, but we're not as dumb. So when we see an ad, like, for example, let's go and look at an advertisement, like an old ad, like old cigarette ads. Like, back in the day, people fell for this shit. They actually looked at this and were like, oh, cigarettes are good for me. Duh. Like, just because of an ad of some dude wearing a white suit. Like, to put in perspective, people, when it comes to advertisements, they really underestimate the population. They underestimate people's baseline level of intelligence. And every single time, they just, like, imagine this to be the bare minimum, and they just go a little bit above that. So short form content, essentially, the bare minimum was here, and it was, like, slowly growing, and because of how many people use short form content and how many people consume it, and how, again, more content you consume, the more knowledge you consume, that bar rose like this. So it rose faster than most people expected. Hence why advertisements still usually suck, and people are a lot more skeptical. They're a lot more, now when someone goes and buys a product, they're not going to go and look at the ad and trust it. They're going to go look on Reddit. They're going to go look on BBB. They're going to go look everywhere else to try and prove, because they know that they're probably getting lied to. But why can't you make an ad? Why can't you make a video that doesn't make them feel that way? Why can't you make a piece of content that doesn't make them feel like they're getting scammed? That is where short form content comes into play. Because if you know my history, I used to be a YouTuber back in the day. I was a content creator. That's all I did. That's all I knew how to do. I knew how to make videos. I knew how to scale kind of businesses from those videos. I made a business out of, like, essentially Fortnite streams. So the point of it is, what I grew up with is not this. This is, in my opinion, BS. This is just like, anyone could do this. Anyone could throw a picture together, launch it, and then boom. But I grew up with, how can you make the best quality piece of content? Because in YouTube, in TikTok, this is why content creators are just they're insanely valuable. Because TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, every single one of these freaking companies, they reward you through watch time retention. Did you know that? So to go viral on TikTok, the little PSA here, to go viral on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever social media platform you care to go viral on, the only thing that you have to do is get someone to watch your video till the end. Get a high watch time retention. The higher the watch time retention, the more people who stick till the end of the video, the better. Why? Because what does TikTok want? What does Snapchat want? I'll tell you what they want, and here, I'll actually paint it in a picture for you. Excuse me. So, TikTok, we're just going to say TikTok, but this can mean Snapchat, this can mean YouTube, this can mean Facebook, this can mean freaking WhatsApp, whatever. It's all the same. They want users, or eyes. That's all they want. That's all they care about. Because users make them money. So, the more users, the happier TikTok is. They say yay, because we're getting users. We're getting money. Because users is equal to money to them. That's all it is. Just a simple formula. So, less users means TikTok doesn't like you. They get mad. They say you're losing us money. Because if this is minus, then they lose money. Negative income. They don't like that. They don't like losing money. No one likes losing money. Everyone likes making money. That's how you have to conceptually think about this. So, users, when they get users, what do they want those users to do? They want those users to spend more time. Because if we saw billions upon billions of users. Everyone knows about TikTok. Everyone knows about Instagram. Everyone knows about Facebook. And they've already marketed to the entire population and a little bit more. So now everyone knows about it, and now it's a household name. When you go and look at your phone, you are gonna hear the word Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or TikTok because they're household names. Now, what they're competing for is not users, but time. Time that the users spend. So what is the new equation here? Because TikTok already got their users, so now, hence why it was so easy to go viral back in the day, but now TikTok wants time because they already got the users. Now they just need the time, because the more time those users spend, imagine if all 1 billion people are all on TikTok all day rather than Instagram Reels. They're all competing for time. And that's the next echelon of it. But we're not at that echelon. We don't need to care about it. But what we do need to care about is not how much money TikTok makes, not about what TikTok's doing, but we need to care about what they want. Because TikTok is a massive platform with billions of people. Never in human history were you able to record a video in 30 seconds and get 1 million people to view it. 10 million people. Do you know how many people that is? Like a Super Bowl stadium size. 70,000 people. Just to put in perspective, getting 1 million views on a video means that you got 14 times the viewers that the people in the stadium. Like imagine that many people. Imagine the entire stadium at a Super Bowl. And imagine 14 times that for a video that you might have made that got 1 million views. That's how many people viewed it. That is a lot. That's not been done before. That number is stupid. That is a dumb number. And the fact that anyone can acquire that. So TikTok is making their money. They're the platform. They're the big dog, right? They're the big guy. But time. Realistically, that's all they want from you. They're the platform that wants everyone's time. But you can take advantage of TikTok's wants. If you know that TikTok wants people's time, and time is because they get money from that, then what stops you from giving TikTok the time, and in return, TikTok's happy? And what does TikTok do when they're happy? They make you go viral. You get more views, right? Virality, hooray. So, we get more views, we get more virality. But realistically, what does that mean? That means that if we go and we make a video, right? And again, this is all off the dome, by the way. So I'm not on a script. So if I'm like yapping, that's why. But realistically, time, if we go and we get a high amount of watch time retention and a high amount of engagements, meaning that people are actively saying, hey, I watched this video till the end and I also have this many likes, then TikTok's going to return the favor by making it go viral. Because now they can get the data. They can say, okay, Ryley's video, he has, every single person who watches his video, they stick around for 5 minutes. And every single person who watches John's video sticks around for 3 minutes. So realistically, I'm going to have Ryley go more viral than John because more people stick around and watch Ryley's video than John's video. Simple. That's because they get more time from it. It's an equation. The root of it is time, because time is equal to money for them. So that's the concept of social media. Now, what does this mean? That means content creators, Mr. Beast, YouTubers, streamers, they need to figure out how to give TikTok or YouTube what they want, which is people to spend time on the platforms. Hence, the power of content creators. Platforms are ridiculously powerful because they are the platform. They are the host. They are the hub. But time, on the other hand, learning how to do this allows you as an individual or as a business, a specific business in an industry, to get recognition, to take advantage of the fact that you're getting 14 times what a Super Bowl stadium gets, right? So that is the game plan. And that is what a lot of content creators do, hence what I did when I was younger as well. All I learned how to do was increase my watch time retention. That was my game. That was my knowledge basis, right? That's all I knew how to do. That's what I was good at. So, hence, when I go back to the original formula that we were looking at, short form content is what I was trained to make. What most content creators are now learning how to make. And when you go viral on short form content, you learn usually that it's from watch time retention if you actually analyze it. Most people don't, but just because it's become so like popularized, but analyze it. You'll figure this out on your own. But the point of it is, back in the day, like, let's go to the original ad, right? This thing. Back in the day, advertisers did not need to learn how to retain their audience, or they didn't need to learn how to do it as well, because they would still get a sale, because they would just pump out an ad and put a bunch of money into the ad, and they would just force everyone to look at it. And then eventually they just make money from it because of an ROI. But now it's different, because there's organic content. I can view all of this content for free. I can go on TikTok and view my content for free. So now everyone is a content creator. Everyone's a YouTuber. So now the competition has increased. To become an influencer, you actually need to learn how to be a good entertainer. You need to learn how to keep someone watching your video at a macro level. Macroeconomics, but in that concept. So knowing this, it means that getting good at short form content, getting good at becoming a content creator, making good content in general that keeps people watching, allows you to make insane ads. The only reason why this ad worked is because the people dumped money into it, right? That's all they did. They just put a bunch of income into the said ad. So with the same conceptual practice, if everyone's putting money into ads, and that's why it was working, and now everyone's trying to do it organically, everyone's trying to do it without spending any money, trying to be the best content creator there is. Why don't you just become the best content creator that posts ads? That's what I do. That's my business. That's Secret Exposed. So that's what it is. Just being a good content creator, but making good content around the advertisements that you're posting, the advertisements that you're doing. Nothing more, nothing less. So the practice with this is, the better you are with retaining your audience and also making an advertisement and getting someone to buy something, you then become better than most advertisers on the planet. And now you're not competing with a bunch of these organic content creators. Now you're not competing with, all of these other people. You're competing with this subcategory of advertisers. And this subcategory of advertisers are old farts, old business owners who think this still works. They post stuff like this. Their bar is still here. When the bar raised up to here, but to be an organic content creator, you have to be all the way up here, right? So, and again, disagree with me if I'm wrong. I love debates. I love being wrong on things so I can reflect on it. But this is literally, I'm 21. I make $500,000 a month, and I plan on making more as the years go by. And I have a full confidence that if everything were to fall apart today, I can build any business and I could succeed in any business because of this one concept. That's how deep it goes. So ads are the bread and butter. And knowing how to funnel in ads and make a good business system, plus market at a high level like this, you then become a top advertiser. You become a top business. And if we think about it from, again, a conceptual point of view, right? TikTok's only been around. Short form content. This practice has only been around for 5 years. Max 5 years it's been popping. But what does that mean? That means that 10 million people that I was showing you, that example, the 14 Super Bowl stadiums fully filled, that number is 70,000 people per Super Bowl stadium. As now you're able to record a video for 30 seconds and get, again, 10, 20, 30 times that. So with that understanding, that's only been a thing for only 5 years. Human existence has been around for thousands of years, and for only 5 years we've had this power. For only 5 years we've had the ability to do this, right? So now, what is that? Oh, but actually, let me touch on one point. Oh, what about YouTube long form? YouTube was 1,000,000,000 times harder to go viral on. Because now, to go viral, you need to learn how to keep someone on the video for 60 seconds. That's not hard. You can get anyone to watch something for 60 seconds if you really try. YouTube was 10 minutes. So it is literally 10 times harder to go viral on YouTube than it is to go viral on TikTok. Because you have to get someone to watch the video for 10 times as long for the same reward, for the same eyeball, right? The eyeball is more valuable, but still an eyeball, right? So that's why short form content works. That's why the industry works. Because no one's taking advantage of it. The bar of advertising has always been low, and it still is low with short form content. And the reason why I perform well, the reason why a lot of young folks, like who are usually they're content creators, usually they're YouTubers, they perform so well, is because they know how to get watch time retention. Because this is how the social media system works, and all we're doing is running ads through that same system that we probably were YouTubers from, or we probably consume the content from, so we know how it works. So how does this go into making 10K a month? Because that's why SMMAs work. Well, for starters, a business usually grows from a key factor. And the key factor that makes a business grow is, I'll keep that there. So the key factor that makes a business grow are usually their AOV / LTV, but like that, this just means average order value, their CAC, customer acquisition cost, right? Just how much does it cost for them to get a customer? And then their COGS, cost of goods or services, or cost of goods sold, realistically. And what else is there? Sometimes we have like other factors, but usually these are the big three. I feel like I'm missing something. If I'm not thinking of them, it's probably not important. So with that being said, AOV. Let's do the math here for an SMMA. And let's be conservative. Really conservative. Really conservative. So let's say our AOV is $1,000, right? Every time I get a client, every time someone says, yeah, I get a $1,000. That's my AOV, right? Now next, my CAC. This is an interchangeable variable. So is the AOV, but CAC is a lot easier to change. AOV, you need to make a better service, price it higher, to do a bunch of testing. CAC is all just about how much you're getting the customer for. And let's imagine that you get a customer for free. This is the SMMA model. And I'll tell you, and we'll go into that in a second. And then the COGS is free, 0. And then all we have to do is put in time to this. So this is SMMA. And why SMMA works, why people buy it, is because if a business owner, right, this concept, these variables work with business owners as well. This is what they look at. This is how a business is profitable or not. And a business only cares about profit. This is the only thing that really matters. Revenue matters, don't get me wrong, but I use this quote all the time. A person who makes $100 million a year in revenue, only takes home 5% margins, is doing significantly worse than 5% profit margin. So he makes $5 million a year profit, but is doing significantly worse than the business owner who makes $10 million a year but has 95% profit margins, because one of them's making $5 million a year, one of them's making $9.5 million a year, because profit is what is the actual lifeblood of the business, not revenue. That's the conceptual mishap. So knowing this, profit is the thing that rules the world, not rev. So let's imagine that John Doe is making realistically $1 million a year rev from his business. Revenue, right? And let's say it costs John, let's say John's AOV, his AOV is 500 smackaroonies. and his CAC is 250 smackaroonies because he's running ads on Google like an idiot. And his COGS is nothing because I don't want to factor that into the math. But his COGS can be anything. But let's just imagine, we're just going to keep it easy, CAC, AOV. So we know that he has 50% margins, right? 50%. Sorry for the chicken scratch, by the way. But now, let's imagine with this same concept, 1 million a year revenue, and he has 50% of that as profit, so he's making $500K a year in prof. Now, if you, as an SMMA owner, go and help him get a customer from $250 down to $25, you have then allowed his profit percentage, his margins, to increase, which is really what matters. So this comes from making and advertising on a platform that's underutilized, hence short form content, hence social media marketing agencies blowing up, or, if you do it right, it's blowing up. And that then goes in with the same AOV. John is not doing anything different. He still has the same 500 AOV. He's still doing the same work. He's just getting the customer for ridiculously cheaper. So now, John, instead of having 50% margins, John now, my mouth is not mathing right now, 5%. So that means that John pulls in profit 95%. You just turned his margin from 50% to 95%. And if John was originally making $1 million a year in rev, this doesn't change. This is a stagnant variable. Probably a science guy is going to tell me that I said that wrong. But you guys understand what I mean. But with that being said, that means that the profit from 50% to 95%, that $1 million a year that he was making originally from doing the same work, now takes him home in his pocket $950K in cash. That is a $450,000 delta, meaning changeable variable. That's what you helped him make. That right there is almost $40K a month. That's $33,000 a month. So let's put it in perspective here. If you are making someone single-handedly an extra $33,000 per month for them to do no extra work, do you think they're going to decline when you ask for 5 or 10K a month for those services? You think they're going to say no or yes or no? Probably not. They're probably going to say, let's do it. Because they have two options. They can either go and make less money or pay you a little bit of the money that you helped them make and make more money for doing nothing different besides just saying the word yes or no. Most business owners can think in a logical perspective to say yes to that deal. And then you just make them feel good as well to make the deal even more enticing. So that's my point. It works because you're literally increasing the revenue. And it doesn't take a lot of time to do that because all you had to do was make the ad in the funnel. And after you make the ad in the funnel, you're golden. You've done your job. You've done the work. So now, where are we at? Well, SMMA. Why is the business so profitable? Why can we make a bunch of money? And why is making $10,000 a month from this business model not freaking hard? Well, the reason why it's not hard is because it doesn't cost any money to record a video on your phone. It doesn't cost any money to go and call people and say, hey, I am this person and I want to work for your business for free and I want to prove my value to you and I want to go and make you a bunch of profitable advertisements. And now all you have to do is record a bunch of ads. And if they do well, perfect. You can close a deal for thousands of dollars a month. If it doesn't do well, then boo-hoo, go on to the next person. I got 33 million businesses like I was showing you. 33 million businesses on this planet. And yes, you heard that right. If we look up how many businesses there are in the United States of America, 33 million. 33 million people own a business. Look up how much a small business makes. I'm not even going to do it. I want you to do it after this video. Give me the watch time, please. But with that being said, 33 million people own small businesses. So what does that mean? Well, that means that what is the US population? Oh, 340 million? What? That means that 10% of people in the United States own businesses. Does that make sense? 10% of the United States population are business owners. Meaning your marketplace is not this 1%, this 0.01. No, it is 10% of the United States market, which is pretty big. And these guys are big players. They got big bucks. They're willing to spend a lot of money because they make more money than a salary worker makes less than a business. Revenue at the end of the day is still money, right? That's cash flow. You could take some of that cash flow, like imagine it to be like a stream of water. You know, like that image, like the guy with the pipe of water, and there's like the fat guy and skinny guy. I think I can find it right here. Come on, give me the meme. Yeah, this fucker. So like this shit's it's still water. Water is water no matter how you drink it. So money's money. Revenue's revenue. So what does that mean? That simply means that 10% of these business owners, they're making a lot of revenue, and you can help make them more profit and take a delta of that just by helping them advertise on a better platform. So you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month from making videos like an idiot, like I did. That's what I did. That's what I'm good at. And then I learned everything else from making the videos and making money off the videos. And then with the money, I just spent that to learn. Simple. So with that being said, let's go on a conceptual practice with SMMA. And let's imagine we're not making 3K a month. We're not making 5K a month. We're brokies. We're not doing good for ourselves in any way. So AOV, $1,000. That's our average order value. That's what we're taking home. Now, for the SMMA, our COGS is... Sorry, I'm going to write this down so we know that this is for SMMA. So, our COGS is 0. It doesn't cost me money to record a video. It doesn't cost me any money to really edit. I guess you could hire an editor, but like you could learn how to do it yourself. It's not hard. CapCut. There you go. And then customer acquisition cost. You can make it 0 because you could simply just reach out to businesses that are on the public web. You can find these businesses online. They're not hard. It's not like you're trying to find a random an individual online. It's going to be a little bit hard. You got to like find a way to contact them, find a way to get in contact. Businesses want to be contacted. They want company. They want people. So it's not hard to find them. So where am I going with this? So ratios are the key factorization of this. Now, if we are cold calling a business, right? And let's just say our funnel looks like this. It's a 3-step funnel. This is the funnel that I used, but you can make any type of funnel that works for you. But it's just use ratios as your base point. So cold calling. Let's pretend that, and because we need to think mathematically here. Again, with business and with money, it's a number. You just got to think in math and you'll figure it out. So if we figure out what amount per every how many cold calls do I get someone to get on a Google meeting with me, a 15-minute Google meeting that's a little bit interested. So how can I turn a warm lead or a cold lead, right? This is a cold lead into a warm lead, right? This is the warm lead generator. And let's imagine it takes you 25 cold calls, right? Each cold call is 5 minutes. 5 minutes, right? And if it's 1 out of every 25 cold calls that gets you a Google meeting booked, and let's say 1 out of every 5 Google meetings that you book, they agree to free trial. They agree for you to do it for a month and just to try it out. No strings attached. You make some ads, and if you do well, then you guys work together. If you don't, then you don't. But you don't get paid as an SMMA if you don't do well. So this just gets you in the door. But let's imagine 1 out of every 4 people that you give a free trial to, they do well. So they sign on and they get closed. And your AOV is $1,000. So a close is $1,000. So time, all we have to do is figure out how many minutes are we spending to get a Google meeting, right? So 25 times 5, 125 minutes, right? So if it takes us, get rid of that. If it takes us 125 minutes for a Google meeting to get booked, then that means doing, and let's imagine, right? And this 125, it's 25 minutes, 125 minutes per every one Google meeting booked. So that then means that if we times this number by 5, times this by 5, we can figure out how many it takes to get 5 Google meetings, right? So simply put, 125 times 5, 625 minutes to get 5 Google meetings, right? So that's how much it costs for us to get essentially 5 Google meetings right here. And let's just say, what's that number? 625? 6 to 5 to... So it takes us 625 minutes. If each cold call is 5 minutes long, you should be able to do it in a shorter period of time. And you're calling 25 companies to get it. So 625 minutes to get this. And let's say each Google meeting, it's like, again, 10 minutes. And again, it's a 1 in 5 ratio. You should have a higher ratio than this, or a better ratio than this, but I'm being as conservative as possible for you. And let's say that's 50 minutes to get someone into a free trial, right? 50 minutes into the free trial. And then the free trial takes like 2 hours because you have to record the video and do all the bullshit. So 2 hours per free trial. So that means that we are essentially spending 8 hours to close the deal, right? So let's just do the math here. 625 divided by 50 divided by 8. That like 8 hours. These are minutes. These are not minutes. So to put in perspective, to get $1,000 from this method with these specific ratios, which these are changeable. If you are a really good cold caller, you can get this down to 1 in 2. If you're a really good closer on a Google meeting, you can get this down to 1 in 2 as well, or 1 in 3 or whatever. And you could just keep decreasing these numbers to make yourself more money and get more bang for your time. But even if your AOV is 1,000, which chances are it's going to be more than that, but I'm being conservative with y'all, because again, I want you guys to see it from a perspective that like anyone can realistically do if they're just not brain dead. So if you do 625 divided by 60, that's 10 hours. Added to another 8 for the free trials, and then add to another 50 minutes, let's just put it as an hour, for the Google meetings. So it costs you 19 hours and 41 minutes, or 19 hours, 19.5 hours, so 19 hours and 30 minutes to generate 1,000 in AOV, or 1,000 in profit, because you have no costs. You have a 100% profit margin. So what does the average American work? Well, they work 2 jobs, or no, like 1 job, 40 hours a week. That's full time. So times this by 2, it takes 38 hours to generate $2,000, right? 38 hours generates you $2,000. So if 38 hours generates you $2,000 and you already work your 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, so you get paid, let's say $25 an hour, you're making $1,000 for those 40 hours. That time that you're spending, 40 hours, you're making $1,000 from it. Times that by 4, you make $4,000 a month, $48K a year. But doing it with this method, you work the same amount of hours. It's a little bit more of a complex formula, but it's the same amount of time spent just through these ratios, because we could figure it out through time and through how long it takes from just the simple cold call, how long time it takes from the Google meeting, how much time it takes from the free trial, right? So knowing this, if every 20 hours on average we make $1,000, that means that if we put 40 hours a week, we make $2,000 in profit a week. We're not getting taxed on this. Or we are getting taxed. I'm sorry, but like it's not like we're getting fucking W-2 taxed. It's not like this is 40%. You can, again, that's why you build businesses, is because you can like essentially spend money, and the money that you spend, if it's a business expense, is a write-off. So you can pay even less in taxes. And there are a bunch of the United States favors business owners rather than individuals. It's simple. It's been like that since the dawn of time, or since 1776 at least. So with that being said, $2,000 a week, times that by 4 weeks in a month, with 40 hours a week, with just building a business as a solopreneur, $8,000 a month. What's that times 12? 96,000 a year. So if you want to make 10K a month, you have to put in essentially 10K a month, 8K a month. You have to put in 40 hours a week. But that's with a shitty AOV. Imagine you decrease this. Imagine you're able to do a cold call in 2 minutes. That changes the entire formula. And it's just plug and play. Now we just do the same math, but instead of with 5 minutes, it's 2 minutes. Just play around with it. And imagine your AOV. Imagine you realize that, wait, I could sell my fucking service. Oh my God. So I can sell my service for, sorry about that. I can sell my service for $3,000. Now you make 3 times the money. Instead of $8,000 a week, you make 3 times what $8,000 is, so $24,000 a month. A month. So this is the game. This is the business model. This is the meta, as we say. And this is why making 10K a month isn't hard. Because if you just build a formula, I did this, I shit you not, 45 minutes? And probably the first 35 I was explaining it. So 10 minutes it took me to build the formula. Now if I just follow this ratio and follow this formula and get the numbers, I can build a business single-handedly that's making me a 6-figure salary. And if I just figure out a way to make that formula better and optimize it, I could build it even higher. Hence why I'm successful. I learned this system, this formula, and I mixed it in with what I know about running ads. That's the game. So this is why making $10,000 a month is not that hard. So yeah, follow me if you want more.